What's up everybody? It's April 21st here in Korea and pretty much coronavirus is controlled. Alright guys, we are at our favorite all-you-can-eat Korean barbecue, but what we're noticing is all the parking lot, it's full. The pastor on his way from Seoul also told me that there was traffic, which is something that hasn't been happening, especially on a weekday. But all these people are getting out of the city, trying to enjoy the sun, the spring, and the flowers out here in Yangpyeong, so that's what we're expecting. So as of today, in Korea, there are apparently 9 cases, and 5 of them were from foreign visitors. So only about 4 cases from within the country. It's pretty much as good as controlled as we see it. I think there's only 2 cases in Seoul. You're probably not gonna get it, but we're still taking precautions. Some people are still wearing masks. But I just sort of wanted to give you guys an update while I, do my daily activity today. But first things first, we gotta order. It's quite simple. For one person, it's 13,500 won. If you're younger, it's cheaper. And here's the prices for the drinks. They're bringing out the initial order. You can also get kimchi soup and bean paste soup for 2,000, and that's the eggs. Something you have to be aware of is on weekdays, you only have 120 minutes, and on holidays and weekends, it's 100 minutes. Gonna get my money's worth, but I'll check back with you and give you more of an update on Korea. Alright, so those of you guys who like authentic charcoal, here it is. It's not briskets, they're legit. Now the meats that they provide for you here are marinated porks. So it has a sweet soy sauce flavor. My mother's prepping the side dishes. Here's all the self-service items that we can wrap the meat in, etc. I also like that the price includes unlimited soft drinks. And you can try this Korean Chilsung Sprite. It definitely has a unique aftertaste, completely different than 7-Up or Sprite. You gotta try it. Look at that! Decided to get the steamed eggs for an extra 2,000. Looks so soft and milky. Ah. Cooked to perfection. Anyways, overall, the condiments are pretty simple, but they have everything you need just to enjoy the meat, which is all I'm gonna focus on for the next 120 minutes. Alright, finished eating. Couldn't really talk in there because it would be unjust to the protein gods to be talking when you have it all you can eat in front of you. However, if you notice inside, the workers are all still wearing masks. So obviously we're not wearing masks. I have been noticing that here in Yangpyeong, I would say about 30% less mask usage for most people, but a lot of people still wearing masks. In the center of Seoul, however, everyone is still relatively wearing masks. Having issues with the brake. Hey, it seems like unfortunately the car ran out of battery, so we're gonna go to a coffee shop while we wait for service. Okay, scratch that. They say that service only takes 10 minutes to come here in Korea, which is super fast, so we're not gonna waste money on the coffee and just wait for them. They do have a nice little windbreaking area. So why am I talking about the mask? Because I think it's a good measure of how vigilant the public is as far as trying to social distance and contain everything. I mean, honestly, if this was America and you said there was only 4 confirmed cases from within the country with 5 foreigners, I think nobody would be wearing masks. It's pretty much as good as controlled. But here, the government, as well as the people, they're still staying vigilant. And I think it has a lot to do with the fact that the initial 6,000 cases that happened, all happened from just one lady that just ended up spreading it to everybody in her little cult religion. So I think you have to be still mindful until it's completely eliminated. There's always a chance that just some random rogue person is gonna go ahead and infect 100 people that will just infect a matter of 1,000 people in a couple days. So I think the better safe than sorry approach is still good because Korea relatively hasn't restricted all access to the country by foreigners as many other countries are doing. Really came within 10 minutes. Freaking amazing. They say that by contract they have to be here within 10 minutes. That's like in the contract. I'm like blown away. It ain't 911. So I've actually had a lot of people reaching out to me and asking me about travel restrictions into Korea. So I did a bit of research, and you can get this information summarized on, I actually got it from Korean Air's travel restriction. I imagine the airlines would be the best to know this because they're going to have to enforce all the travel restrictions. But as far as Korea is concerned, there are no particular restrictions unless you're Japanese, because they're doing this reciprocating tit for tat kind of thing. If another country restricts travel from Korea, they're going to restrict travel from that country. Which is, it makes sense because the citizens here are thinking, you know, if anything, we should be restricting travel from Japan, but they're, you know, saying they're going to restrict travel from us because, I don't know, I think it's like a political thing to make it seem like they're doing better than Korea, and then the Koreans get mad because they're like, well, this is sort of one-sided. Why is Japan restricting travel only from Korea? So then they did this. So now going forward, if any country restricts travel for Koreans, they're going to restrict travel. So unless you're one of those countries, you can come in. The only problem is that now they're going to require mandatory 14-day quarantine. And before they were going to let you do it at your own residence or your hotel. But there's been a lot of issues with the foreigners that were coming in here going around not wearing masks. So because of the few bad apples, it's mandatory unless you have a long-term visa here. So as a tourist, you will have to stay at a government quarantine facility, and you are gonna pay $100,000, which roughly comes out to be about $80 US with the current conversion rate. And you need to be in there for 14 days. So they'll provide food and everything, but I wouldn't recommend it for people who want to just come here for like a month, because you're going to be spending 2 weeks of that in a government facility and not being able to do anything. But if you're planning on coming out here for longer than that, then it might be worthwhile. You know, I certainly enjoy it out here. As you see in my videos, there's pretty much no restrictions as far as restaurants and sightseeing. So if you're depressed and you can't do anything, even, you know, my Thai students are thinking about coming out to Korea because everything in Bangkok is closed. They're not letting any businesses open. You know, I can't comment on every single country and what they're doing, but it's pretty much your only option out there. Every country is restricting foreigners unless you have a long-term visa or you're a permanent resident from entering the country, especially Asian countries. So I think for the next year or so, I wouldn't expect to be traveling much. But Korea is still the only country that I see that still sort of allows you to come in, but with that exception. I mean, even if you came here a month ago, you would have been able to come like as an American citizen, visa-free for 90 days. You could just self-quarantine at wherever you're staying, but that's not possible anymore, guys. And I don't expect the restrictions to be lifted anytime sooner, because even if things get better in America and other places, which I am 100% sure it will happen. It might not be as great as here, but it's definitely going to get better. I imagine Korea is going to get relatively that much better too. So if anything, especially with the statistics that consistently show that most of the infections here that are being confirmed are from foreign origin, I believe that they're going to continue to want to put restriction on foreigners, because that's the main source of infection and what they need to protect against until they completely vaccinate this or control it. worldwide, which I don't really expect it to happen in the next, couple months. So yeah, that's sort of where we stand here as far as you being able to travel into Korea if you're interested. But anyways, let me go into my room and I'll talk more. Sorry guys, didn't have time to talk about anything when I got into the house, but we were already coming out and having dinner. Here at a local restaurant with very affordable local pricing. What we ordered though is very unique. This isn't actually what we ordered, but service appetizer. These are acorn jellies. Cheap acorn jelly usually tastes like nothing, but good acorn jelly is supposed to be nutty. This one is not only nutty, but it has a rich, thick texture. You can totally tell it is all natural. It's not artificially flavored. Very good, and I'm looking forward to the acorn wild sesame seed noodles that we ordered. Alright, here we are. It looks like they gave us a bit of pepper in there. So these aren't actually noodles. This is what we call sujebi, which is something they lump together and usually has a noodle texture, but they're using acorn jelly. So the sujebi looks like this. Wow, super chewy. It's like acorn jelly, but chewier. And then the broth is made out of wild sesame seeds. Looks like green onions, mushrooms in here as well. Should give a rich overall nutty, rich flavor. Oh my god, that's super hot. That'd be awesome on a cold winter day. Now, the only flavor that's missing from this is spiciness and that sourness. But you have this unique dry turnip kimchi, which they use the dry turnip to make the kimchi out of. When you eat it all together, it's a burst of flavors in your mouth. But more importantly, it gives you a crunchy substance to chew at. I myself, I'm not a huge fan of Chinese food that's like only slimy and squishy type of texture, but you can add a crunchiness to it, so you get all the different textures in your mouth, and it doesn't seem like you're just slurping up snot. So this is something that the owner gave us for free. Acorn pancakes. I've never had something like this. Again, it's very chewy. It has a very chewy texture that I have not experienced in any Korean pancake. That was possibly the most filling meal I've had for only 6,000 Korean won. So much service, so much extra that he's throwing in there. I mean, generally a lot of these restaurants that operate with just sit-down customers, they tend to be extra nice to people who still go there during this coronavirus situation. Although it may still be open, people tend to avoid sit-down restaurants because you can't wear a mask in there, and they don't want to expose themselves to people who don't wear masks. So since nothing seems to be restricted, what really is restricted in Korea? We're gonna get private room. The only thing that's really close here in Korea, there's schools. And so far the plan is to not let office workers go back into corporate work until middle of May. But all of this is also subject to change. But based on how things are trending, it seems like that will happen because we're almost at a 0 infection rate. This cafe is really awesome though. It's sort of like in a cabin. And my parents come here because it's cheap. It is 3,000 won for an Americano and 5,000 for a hand drip. But look, this place even has like a whiteboard for you to do presentations and hold meetings. I'm really liking this feel here though, although it's so much the center of attention because that's the front of the cafe. Anyways, I'm gonna join in on the conversation. I'll talk to you guys later. So this is sweet red bean porridge, Korean style with yogurt ice cream.
시간 날 때 연락 주세요.
Oh, it's so sticky.
목요일 날 괜찮아요. 진짜로 진짜. 해보고 싶어.
사모님 본격적으로 비즈니스 하시는
그걸 리모델링 하려면 안팎.
It's a fantastic cafe, and it's a shame that they opened up right when this coronavirus started because there's not that many people to enjoy it. Lovely ambience inside. They made it like a log cabin. Sure, it cost a lot. We're all discussing where they brought all that wood from. Probably imported from Russia. I feel really bad for these store owners. Because, you know, the coronavirus sort of had a stop on everything. One of the people there, he also started a burger joint, and it's delicious. But he's doing relatively okay because he has takeout orders. But places like cafes or sit-down restaurants, they're really not doing that good. Cool. So the question is, where do we go from here? I think a lot of people are looking to Korea as far as what they're doing because I don't think Korea is necessarily any smarter. They're just more experienced because everything started earlier here. They started all the quarantining measures, the lockdown measures, the testing measures before other countries have done it. I think eventually all the other countries will pretty much catch up. And now they're just sort of looking at Korea and seeing what kind of mistakes they make and trying to learn from it, or what kind of success stories they have. Whatever the case, aside from the numbers, I honestly don't know what needs to be done from here. I think Korea is struggling with the same kind of issues and having the same debates that America is having. And that's the balance between trying to get this virus under control and not overreacting so much so that it completely kills the economy. I mean, the economy isn't doing that great, obviously. But there also should be a balance of getting the virus under control. As you could see in countries where they didn't do that at all, it ended up killing the economy anyways because the whole system just completely stalled and stagnated when everybody left and right is dropping dead. So what is that balance? I can't tell you because I think when you talk about is Korea doing something right or wrong, I think that's a relative question. And for me to answer that, I would have to be well aware of what's happening in your country. I mean, being that I'm American, I do follow up on American news, but news nowadays is sensationalized. So I have absolutely no idea how it really is. So you guys tell me, comment below what you see that is different than the videos that I'm showing you as far as life in Korea during the coronavirus. And maybe we can figure out if there are any differences that are either helping or hurting a country getting this virus under control. And let's check back in another 2-3 weeks from now when the incubation stage is over and all the actions that we're taking right now show up as a result and see if it helped or not. I mean, knock on wood, although Korea is doing great, you can clearly see that society is more mobile now and they're going out, there's less social distancing. So who knows? There could always be another second wave. I do like that Korea is still being vigilant and trying to be careful, but I'm also concerned that their economy is going to get hurt in the long run. There really isn't a right or wrong answer. And that's why I'm making these videos to just show you daily normal life in Korea is not sensationalized. I have absolutely no incentive or reason to make it look better or worse, but simply just to show it to you guys as it is so that we can share our experiences and have a conversation around what needs to happen or should happen going forward. And if you're interested in more videos, be sure to go to our page, go to Live in Asia, And I have a playlist called Life in Korea During the Coronavirus that will differentiate from my Journey Back to Korea series. I did that as people were getting confused as to when I shot the video because I've been recently uploading videos that I shot a year ago in my Journey Back to Korea series. But an easy way to tell is in my Journey Back to Korea series, I have a mustache. Whatever the case, I hope you guys stay safe, have a fantastic week, and I hope to see you guys again in a few more days as I upload every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. And please, again, let me know in the comments below what you see that is similar to your country or different, so I could use it as reference and gauge what's happening here and bring you guys more interesting content in the future.